My mic's on. I got level. I didn't accidentally mute myself this morning. Adam, good morning. How are you? Great to see you. Hello, hello. Danny, what's happening, my man? Just saying. You got that right. What's going on, Johnny? What's happening? That's a killer shot there. Is that a 71 Les Paul Custom? That looks like a 71 Les Paul Custom, unless that is a PRS, but gosh darn it, that's a beautiful guitar. Paul Trombetta. Wow. I've been put in the same sentence as Ola. What did I do to deserve this? Thank you, my dear friend. It's so funny, Paul. You know, you and I keep kind of bumping into each other all these decades later. So I'm looking forward, hopefully sooner than later, that we'll actually get a chance to kind of actually make some music together. I'm not talking about a band. I'm not talking about getting married, but I would love to actually hop on stage with you at some point sooner than later and actually just rock out, because you and I have never actually, done the music thing. For those of you who don't know, Paul is an amazing, very famous, highly regarded pedal designer and manufacturer, but he is also a phenomenal guitar player, but he's also one of my favorite vocalists. He was in a band called Murder Bay that was one of my favorite. Before that, Sticky Fingers, one of my favorite bands in the Bay Area, dare I say it, 80s scene, but just a great guy. My old band, Captain Crunch, we did some shows together, and I remember the bass player. This is, we just got to, just say it. The bass player had a road case with an ice chest built in it. I mean, just like this was a thing. People took their shows seriously back in those days. I think that was at Nile Station, that particular show that I'm thinking of. I'm like, crafty. In any case, we got to make this happen. All right, what a pleasure, my friend. Thank you for tuning in. And your poor wife, give her my apologies. I digress. Anton Shred, back from the gym. Gosh darn it. Great to see you, my friend. Did you get the guitar profile that I sent through to you? A little hot. Let me know. Llewellyn, hello, my friend. Totally sure what we're going to do today, but I've got a couple of good ideas. And my buddy Chris, of course, has sent through Chris's questions as always. In any case, Llewellyn, that was a little bit of the East Bay Blues for you, my friend. So Llewellyn and I go back to Berkeley. I think, first of all, the Keystone Berkeley, seeing Narada and the Warriors was probably where we met. Either that, it was Narada and the Warriors at the Keystone Corner in San Francisco, Sproul Plaza. In any case, lots of great history. Oh, David Ernst, glad you're here. Johnny, that is a beautiful guitar. I am a huge Epiphone fan, so let me be very clear. This is an Epiphone-friendly place. It's a funny thing. I've got a buddy on here that invariably will show up, who I love dearly. But, some folks can't quite get over the Epiphone thing. And so I've been fortunate enough to kind of get to know a bunch of the people inside the Gibson and Epiphone framework, and they're flippin' awesome people, and they really care. And the Epiphones they are making, past and present, are phenomenal guitars. And honestly, my snotty attitude got in the way of me kind of falling in love. There's a red Firebird around here that was really kind of the gateway in, and it's like I saw it on Reverb, and I was like, I must have this guitar. And that was where it started, and I've got two of the 60s Les Paul, so beautiful guitar. I feel you, and this is an Epiphone-friendly space, gosh darn it. Great guitar, Johnny. Great to see you. David, we're going to come back to you and your amp question real soon. You know who. Kareem, good morning. Crunchy P90 for the morning coffee. So the crazy thing is, this is a DiMarzio hum-canceling P90. It is, what have I done here? There we go. It's got that perfect blend of like it gets nasty. but it also does dive. I got a gate on there, so it'll every so often. There you go, the gate's on. Dyads make the world go round, right? Just the way the notes marry together. Just really love this pickup. And gosh darn it, it doesn't hiss and piss. So good morning. Great to see you. Hello, hello, hello. Can't even tell my feet from the sawdust on the floor. There's a venue in Nashville that I can't wait to get back and play. That's kind of got that kind of a vibe. The Underdog. Larry Mitchell and I did a show there, and it's just got a great vibe. It's one of those slightly, you're a little careful where you sit down in the bathroom, just saying. But Lance Lopez was also on the bill. And if you're not familiar with Lance, which pretty much everybody here is either or really should be, he's one of the best blues players on the planet and a lovely guy. So that was a lot of fun. All right. Gosh darn it, Greg, I was going to invite you, but I didn't want to be forward. So I've got something for you and everybody today. I've got a couple of things. So I've got some ideas of what we're going to do. Everclear gave me my Epi Studio. Well, hot darn. I don't know what that has to do with the Epi Studio, but I'm celebrating that. Sonny, good morning, my friend. Hello, 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 my friend of many, many decades. My Ibanez loaning friend. Only a real friend would loan you his brand new. It was an RG. No, it was a GM77. But you are my dear, dear friend of many years. Thank you. Johnny, with great pleasure. There we go. Fingerstyle Blues. Sorry about the wrong note. Give a quick shout out to my buddy Brian from Dunlop Strings. Brian Kehoe, another buddy I've known for a long time. The thing that I love about these Dunlop Strings is they have a, dare I say, slinky quality. And I can get away with bending and not breaking these strings in a way that most strings will break at the bridge. I'm not saying that about any other brand that does a slinky thing. I'm saying these strings, as they stand on their own, are flipping great for that. All right, I'm doing the roll call here because that's what we do. All right, there we go. Hello, my friend. You know what? I think we're going to go to the middle pickup for you. Albert. All right. Awesome. With great pleasure. Awesome. Awesome. Okay, let me get caught up here and let's get down to work. No wrong notes if you apply a bend or a little vibrato, right? Hello, Sean. Great to see you. Hello, hello. Okay. All right, so let's get to it. There are two main things that are immediately on the menu. One of which was David Ernst had an amp question. I'm going to get to that in just a moment. This is going to be a teaching moment that something has happened that I stumbled across, and David, we're gonna go deeper. So let me just very quickly unpack David's question. David is a dear friend from high school, And believe it or not, dinosaurs had already died when I was in high school. However, not shortly before I actually attended high school at Berkeley High, which is where I met David, who has been a friend of many, many, many years. I sold David a 1969, it's a 69 Strat or 71. What year is the three-tone Strat? In any case, we've shared a guitar. It's almost like sharing a, forget it. So keeping it clean. But he reached out, he had a power surge, and it took out 2 of his amplifiers. So his question was about an amplifier kind of in the $500 range. So I've got a whole download about that. But before we do that, I want to make sure that anybody that's here, we're going to go over something that will transform your guitar playing in a huge way. So I want to jump right into that. I'm going to kill the long delay there for a moment. Not too long. All right, so here's the deal. I'm going to go into a little tiny preamble. This is, as I give my students the finger, this is important. For those of you who don't know, and pretty much everybody here does, but just as a reference point, the major scale, 2 holes and a half, 3 holes and a half. That's the framework by which pretty much all Western music is measured. So if we were to take the key of C major, that 2 holes and a half, 3 holes and a half, gives us C hold to D hold to E half to F hold to G hold to A hold to B half to C. So with that framework in mind, you could walk up and down. We're going to just kind of draw a dividing line at the 12th fret for right now, up and down each string, and be able to see E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, A, G, F, E, D, C, B, A, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, G, F, E, D, C, B, A, G, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, E, D, C, B, A, G, F, E. Almost made it in time. So what I'm doing there is I'm going up the E string, down the A string, up the D string, down the G string, up the B string, down the E string. Then I would go back up that, and then down the B, up the G, down the D, up the A. I knew there was going to be something nasty there. Up the A and down the E. And the idea is by switching each time you get to, kind of the octave or the open string, it's like what we do when we're solo. We don't just go up and end. We move around, and being able to be nimble in switching directions and switching strings is key. Now, this is where this is going to blow your mind. And Greg, this is for you. So Greg very kindly transcribed that crazy, that little bit of whatever the heck that lick was, and we had a little exchange, and it was talking about that he's getting into transcription. And so this ties into just such a huge range of things that are incredibly important. So one of the big things that I've been working on, we've been talking about that here, is the idea of being able to play the guitar without looking, because your sense of touch has become developed enough. Oh, I was a half step off. So you kind of feel where you are on the neck because you've developed that tactile sense. It's a huge deal. So as I was actually in here preparing last Saturday morning, because I get up early to just kind of be prepared for you, because this matters to me a lot, I was kind of playing, and I had this giant revelation, is that when I'm playing up and down the neck, I actually play the same way that I did when I was in junior high school, which is I see the shapes. We all do this, and a big part of what getting the whole thing by touch is learning to get as good at feeling where the notes are and hearing where they are as being able to see where the shape is on the neck. However, I try not to box myself in the way that I think about things, because if you put the blinders on, you only see what's in front of you instead of all this other stuff. And I kind of went, wait a second. How is it after all this tactile, kinesthetic stuff I've been spouting and teaching, I'm actually playing by eye, not by ear? And I'm like, okay, well, I mean, the ear's in there, but I was like, okay, what does this mean, and what am I doing? And I realized, unlike, little Dougie, as I like to refer, where I just learned the shape, I didn't have any idea of what was going on, I actually, as I was playing the different shapes in whatever key I was in, I actually knew where the notes were. I knew, I could, instead of just playing the shape, I'm like, oh, well, that's G, A, and B, because I've studied and practiced that. And then kind of this whole thing, and this is the massive download that will change the way you play guitar forever, if you so inclined. The deal is that if you were to take it from a modal approach, which is where we're going to hang our hat first, but it applies to the modern pentatonic as well, the idea is that if you can identify, like we did with that little exercise I showed you a minute ago, where all the natural notes are, then whatever the tonal center note is, and whatever the mode you're playing there, once you can identify the flats and the sharps in terms of the note names, you're no longer stuck playing patterns. You can play the notes anywhere on the neck because you can see where those notes are anywhere on the neck. And I've been toying with this idea is at what point is the circle of fifths going to play into this thing? And I've kind of I know I've been getting close to it, but now I've kind of stumbled into it. So the deal is, if, for example, we're in the key of C major, you go up a fifth, you end in the key of G major. You go up a fifth, you end up in the key of D major. Now, where this relates to, what we're going to do is we're going to combine that and the pitch axis. So let me just walk y'all through just how these ideas collide and intersect and where this makes sense. So the deal is, when I'm playing in the key of E Phrygian, which shares the same 7 notes as C major, I'm not thinking about C major, because if I'm playing E Phrygian, there ain't no C going on there until I go. Up, say I play an F sharp. So the deal is I'm thinking about, I'm just thinking, hey, that's all the natural notes. And that's where we're starting. So we're in the key of E Phrygian. But the great thing about this is if you know E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, and A, G, F, E, D, C, B, A, and D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, and G, F, E, D, C, B, A, G, and B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and E, D, C, B, A, G, and me and my D's and my C's and my B's, E, D, C, B, A, G, F, E. You now know all those, where that is, all the flipping heck over the neck. I had the F sharp. Now there's a certain amount of muscle memory where I've spent so much time, but we're going to get to E Dorian in just a moment. So the deal is, literally, if you can just see the natural notes, you're no longer stuck in one box. Flipping huge. All right, so C is the relative major of E Phrygian. Same 7 notes. You go up a fifth from C major, you end up at G major. And the notes of G major are G, hold to A, hold to B, half to C, hold to D, hold to E, hold to F sharp, half to G. We got 1 sharp. E, F sharp, G, A, B. Wait. No, G. I needed to go to G major. It's got the F sharp. Sorry, I went the wrong way. I need to be playing E. Hold on. Brain on. G major. No. I needed to be going to the flat 7, right? Yeah. So, right. So I needed to go to G major, which is gonna, hold on. Oh, no, my bad. All right, I needed to go to, hang on. Give me just a moment. So we were in C major, which is E Phrygian. G major, which is the F sharp. Right. Sorry. All right. Got it. Brain back on. Right. So the deal is we end up at E Dorian. Sorry, I just needed to rethink that for a quick second. Let me walk you back through what I needed to walk myself back through. We started on C major. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. We start that off at E. We end up with E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E. Up a fifth from C major, we got G major. G, hold to A, hold to B, half to C, hold to D, hold to E, hold to F sharp, half to G. If we start that off of its E note, it's E, F sharp, G, A, B, C, D, E. And that is going to be... No. Wait. Wait, I need to... Nope, this is the same mistake I made a moment ago. Hang on a second. E minor. So the deal is, sorry, everybody else is going, Doppler, come on. All right, so the deal is the notes of E minor, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C, D, E. So that is to say we've added one sharp to the midst of all of this. Sorry, it took me a moment. I didn't refresh my memory before this, but I'm back on. So that is to say we start off at C major. As it relates to E, its relative E mode is E Phrygian. E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E. Then we went up a fifth from C major to G major. G major's relative mode is E minor, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C, D, E. So we've added one sharp. Now, why does this matter? So instead of going E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, A, G, F, E, D, C, B, A, we're now going to go E, F sharp, G, A, B, C, D, E, A, G, F sharp, E, D, C, B, A, D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C, D, G, F sharp, E, D, C, B, A, G, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, E, D, C, B, A, G, F sharp, E. That is to say, sorry, hit an F and 7 F sharp. So literally all those notes, all we did was we take all those natural notes, if you can see where the natural notes are, and we just add, instead of an F, we turn that F into an F sharp. And everything else. And literally you can walk any pair of strings. If you can see where the D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C, D are, and G, F sharp, E, D, C, B, A, G. All right, we go up a fifth from there. G, D. So the key of D is D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C sharp, D. So now we've added the C sharp to the mix. So that means that we're now playing E Dorian. So instead of going E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, and E, F sharp, G, A, B, C, D, E, we're now going E, F sharp, G, A, B, C sharp, D, E, A, G, F sharp, E, D, C sharp, B, A, so on and so forth. And I was like, the moment I kind of hit on that, I apologize for the stuttery introductions. I forgot the flipping key of E minor. Really? Once I kind of realized what I'd stumbled onto, I was like, it changes everything. Because then you're able to go, oh, snap. If I know what my tonal center is, I know what the sharps or flats are, then I can just take the natural notes up and down every string. I'm no longer dependent on fingerings. I can play the notes anywhere I want to. And in particular, where this really matters, if you're looking for three notes that matter the most, if you think about E, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to jump back into the traditional place where my brain normally lives, which is the pitch axis, which is the idea of E major. It's a slightly wrong note. Come on, Doug. Thank you. E Dorian. Phrygian. Lydian. Mixed Lydian. Minor. Brooklyn. So the deal is, this is E major, E Dorian, E Phrygian, E Lydian, E mixed Lydian, E minor, E Locrian. So now by looking at that E, F sharp, G sharp, A, B, C sharp, D sharp, E, and E, F sharp, G, A, B, C, sorry, I played a C instead of a C sharp. E, F sharp, G, A, B, C sharp, D, E for E Dorian. E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E for E Phrygian. E, F sharp, G sharp, A sharp, B, C sharp, D sharp, E for E Lydian. E, F sharp, G, A, B, C sharp, D, E for E mixed Lydian. E, F sharp, G, A, B, C, D, E for E minor. And E, F, G, A, B flat, C, D, E for E Locrian. We're just targeting on whatever E, G, or in this case G sharp, and B note. So this is major, Dorian, Phrygian, Lydian, mixed Lydian, minor, Locrian, major. And the great thing about this is that, you know, for most people, kind of the note name's like, why do I need to know that? It's painful. There's work. Once you kind of go, because if I can see where all those notes are, the key word here was C, and this ties into what was happening last week. I was like, I'm playing the shape, but I can actually see, you know, as if somebody put one of those little stickers on the fingerboard. I'm like, I can see that's G, A, and B. I'm like, oh, right. I made an emoticon out of myself. I'm like, oh, snap, there's a thing here. So the deal is, traditionally when I think about playing an E, my brain has gotten good at churning through, hey, if the major scale is E, F sharp, G sharp, A, B, C sharp, D sharp, E, and the Dorian mode's got a flat 3 and a flat 7, my G sharp becomes a G, my D sharp becomes a D, which means we got an E, F sharp, G, A, B, C sharp, D, E, which has served me really well. However, it kind of keeps you thinking in a good way because E's the tonal center, E, 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 E. What happens when you're on these other strings? You're kind of like starting kind of in the middle of the sequence, as opposed to like, well, instead of thinking about E, the tonal center, what if I just think of the collection of the 7 notes, and as it relates to the natural notes, and then just adding the various sharps or flats, and then I can paint the neck with those notes. And I was like, what I easily could do on the high E string, all of a sudden went, I see that everywhere on the neck now. And so, you know, the value of that is it means that, let's just say we're going to take the A minor pentatonic scale, whose notes are, first of all, the minor pentatonic compared to the major scale is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. If you take the 3 and make a flat 3, and you take the 7 and make a flat 7, the minor pentatonic is a 1, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 7, 1, which collectively at A gives us A, C, D, E, G, A, A, C, D, E, G, A, so on and so forth. So basically, all right, E, G, A, C, D, E, A, G, E, D, C, A, D, E, G, A, C, D, G, E, D, C, A, G, C, D, E, G, A. I'd have to go to that C, right? E, D, C, A, G, E. And all of a sudden I'm like, whoa. Sorry, I hit a B. I hit a C, B there instead of... I haven't mapped this yet. So now I'm not thinking about this shape right here. I'm now... I need delay for what I'm about to do. I hit an F. Hit another F. So I'm not great at it yet with the pentatonic, but once I get there, because honestly I'm better with consecutive notes. If I were to take A, let's say I was playing A minor pentatonic, representing a Phrygian. No, let's say it's A Dorian. I've got my my E, F sharp, G, A, B, C, D, E. However, on the high E string, I am pretty darn good at being able to go, there's my E, G, A, C, D, E, G, A. Now I'm playing a B. I guess I'm not that good. So the idea is being able to go, all right, well, I just have to be able to pick out the notes I don't want to play from the notes I would do. And making sure that I don't hit a, in this particular case, an F sharp or a B. Hit a B there. And this one takes, again, because you're leaving notes out. It's a little bit trickier, but... So we're on the G string. Here's G, A, C, D, E, G. Keep hitting that F. All of a sudden it'd be... starts to come together. Doesn't sound great yet, but I'll get it. Again, at this point, I'm just kind of mapping. And the idea is being able to jump in. There's my D and my E and my G. There's my C, D, and E. That flippin' F. And then you begin to kind of go, okay, well, these weird no man's land. Where basically I'm at C, D, and E. I'm at G, A, and C. And I'm at D, E, C, D, and E. You begin to kind of go, hey, I know that's A, C, and D, E. I guess that's a G. Not a perfect process, but that's why we practice. Point being, and you watch me walk the tightrope and fall a bit, but I'm okay with that. That has unbelievable potential to just kind of go, I'm no longer playing the shapes. And so let me back up one step. Once you begin to see that there is a sequential thing happening with the minor pentatonic, but A, C, D, E, G, A, A, C, D, E, G, A, then you know that what those notes are. This is E, G, A, C, D, E, G. Sorry, I'm not quite getting that. But then you start doing wacky stuff. You're like, what if I went C, D, E, G? What if I went D, E, G, A? What if I went E, G, A, C? And what if I went totally bonkers, which is exactly what we're doing. All right, can I do the A, C, D, E? Oh, holy cow. That's what I'm talking about, right? Because then you're like, holy cow. Had I never thought about the neck like that, I don't think in my right mind I would have thought to do that. Because, right? So the point being is you kind of begin to bring it down to... And you kind of begin to go, oh, I see where I am. so on and so forth. You begin to map that. Start working in fifths, right? That's not a fifth, that's a sixth. Because you can see that that is my D, E, G, A, G, A, C, D, E. I think I hit a B in there. Then you move up one string. But the point being is I'm playing by sight, but I'm not just playing mindlessly the pentatonic box. I'm like, I can see the shape of where, when I take my time, C, D, E, G, A, C, D, E, G, and A are, and again, E, G, A, C, D, E, G, A, C, D. And once I can map those out, now all of a sudden I'm kind of connecting, if you will, like we've always done with the pentatonic, the dots. That will, first of all, it's in the period of a week completely revolutionized my approach to playing. And the great thing is you're no longer stuck playing the same wheelie, 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 boom, boom, same licks over and over, because now all of a sudden you've who let the dogs out, right? Because you're just like, holy cow. All right, so I'm just kind of, obviously, this is a thing that I'm in the process, as you heard me fumbling through a bit of that as I was you actually watched me map the minor pentatonic out in kind of real time. And I hadn't done that with the pentatonic with this strategy yet, so for better or for worse. But the deal is, getting back to this mode spelling thing, traditionally with this pitch axis, I'll see things as it relates to the tonal center. That's hugely important because it allows me to have a starting place to kind of go, hey, give me a mode. I'll pick 5. All right, that's going to be Mixolydian. So that's going to go basically compared to the major scale. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, flat 7, 1. So if E major is E, F sharp, G sharp, A, B, C sharp, D sharp, E. E Mixolydian is going to be E, F sharp, G, A, B, C sharp. Sorry, E, F sharp, G sharp, A, B, C sharp, D, E. So again, I'm just thinking about it. I've got an F sharp, a G sharp, and a C sharp. F sharp, G sharp, and a C sharp. So then you start collecting those notes and kind of go, all right, an F sharp, G sharp, and a C sharp. Start mapping that around the neck. Now, there's enough sharps there that it can get messy, but again, we're keeping an eye for our F sharp, our G sharp, and our C sharp, right? E, F sharp, G sharp, A, B, C sharp, D, E, A, G sharp, F sharp, E, D, C sharp, B, A. And once you start mapping it like that, that's not that hard. So then you just kind of hang out initially on those bottom strings. And just kind of get used to it. And you can see, because I'm aiming for that G sharp, I can see that shape because it draws a shape. There's my B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, and a G sharp. So again, I'm seeing the locations of the frets on the neck, but I'm able to see the locations of the frets on the neck because I actually see where those notes, if you what I call the note splay, right? There's my B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, G sharp. So again, and you start working pairs. So on and so forth. And then you start playing what I call mode games, where you start going, all right, let me just kind of move and do different sequences. And in the process of doing that, you begin to map the notes. All right. Down the rabbit trail I went. Let me take a little moment of refreshment. I'm curious how many people fell off the wagon there. It's like, he's lost the plot. All right, let me just jump in. All right, that's a good sign. I see new comments here. That is a good sign. And David, I did not forget about you. 69 Strat. There we go. Come on. Provo Park. There we go. Hello, Kevin. Top of the morning salute to my Berkeley brethren. It was a sunny day down in Provo Park. The Berkeley brethren were there before dark, hanging out. Somebody had a jukebox or a ghetto blaster. And Doug brought his guitar like he always did, because he always wanted to be. Faster. Okie dokie. Hello, Kevin. Nice to see you, my friend. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to all of yours. All right, Mark, good morning. Can't hang, but I always appreciate that you stop in and say hello, my friend. I'm playing notes for somebody who's not even here. That guy's a great player, by the way. All right, Tony, found your gift. All right, all clicks in a row, all ducks in a row. Excellent, thank you so much. Missed it yesterday. Must be these old eyes. Thus, my lack of response. That's what I figured. You know, it happens to me. Eye opener. All right, come on, here we go. All right, brother, hand pick waving. Hello, what's going on, Junie? Right. I'm something. Thank you. Awesome. Do I still have my Line 6 HD500X? I do. I will. Gosh darn it. I got to break that puppy out. I got to put it in a video. If you can explain it, you know it. Thank you very much. Materials to further explore pitch axis and circle of fits. Short version. And this is one of the important things, and I'm so glad you came today. I didn't want to kind of clickbait you into coming, and I'm really glad you showed up, because this is really, really hugely important. So the thing is, literally, so there's the finger, and then there's the hand. So one of the most important things everybody can get used to here, and I started, hey, what's going on, Matt King? Good morning, Sonia. Tom, hello. I'm going to get caught up in just a second. Brett, hello. I'm going to only go that far, and then otherwise I'm going to distract myself. So the deal is, what you want to do is be able to, and there's 5 fingers here, so you can easily get through the fifth. So C, D, E, F, G, that gets us to the key of G. G, A, B, C, D. That gives us the key of D, D, E, F sharp, G, A. That gets us the key of A. A, B, C sharp, D, E. That gets us the key of E. E, F sharp, G sharp, A, B. That gets us the key of B. B, C sharp, D sharp, E, F sharp. That gives us the key of F sharp. Oh, I got to look at that one. F sharp, G sharp, A sharp, B, C sharp, D sharp. E sharp, F sharp. Yep, just double checking. All right. So then you end up at C sharp, but you can also then call that D flat. So the point being is that write those down and then get comfortable with that. And so the whole point about all of that, what that's going to do is consecutively, it's going to keep adding a sharp. So I would starting off in the key of C and just going, okay, well, let me hang out on the high East and get comfortable with the natural notes. E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, E, D, C, B, A, G, F, E. Then when you get to the key of E minor, it's going to be E, F sharp, G, A, B, C, D, E, E, D, C, B, A, G, F, E. And then I think we get to the key of E. Dorian, which would be E, F sharp, G sharp, A, B, C sharp, D, E, E, D, C sharp, B, A, G, F sharp, E. And then you get to the next one. It's the next sharp that I should know. That's what are we going to have? Lydian? No. Oh, there's another one. Is that going to be Mixolydian? E, F sharp, G sharp, A, B, C sharp, D. I think I just did that. So the point being is you write it down. And so I'm not good enough with the circle of fifths yet that I can go through that and transpose that to the key of E yet. But that's the homework. So you write it out. Okay, this is what the relative major is. Those what are the sharps and flats are. But I'm going to get used to doing this here. So you can initially start on the high E string. That way you're just going, hey, I'm taking the natural notes on the high E string because we're so comfortable in the key of E, or on the high E string, and just go, okay, natural notes, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, E, D, C, B, A, G, F, E. One sharp, sure, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C, D, E, E, D, C, B, A, G, F sharp, E. Two sharps, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C sharp, D, E, E, D, C sharp, B, A, G, F sharp, E. Right, that does get us to Mixolydian. That Dorian was the two. Mixolydian will be three. E, F sharp, G sharp, A, B, C sharp, D, E, E, D, C sharp, B, A, G sharp, F sharp, E. That's probably going to get us to Lydian, right? Yeah. E, F sharp, G sharp, A sharp, B, C sharp. No, I ended up with the next one. All right. In any case, the idea is you write it out, and that way you have a kind of a guide to do that with. So you see what the relative major is, but we're thinking about it as it relates to E because we want to just get used to mapping it on that string starting from E. Then, in turn, as you begin to think about mapping it on the rest of the neck, start off with the key of E Phrygian relative to C major. Let's go again. E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, A, G, F, E, D, C, B, A, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, G, F, E, D, C, B, A, G, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, E, D, C, B, A, G, F, E, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, A, G, F, E, D, C, B, A, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, D, C, B, A, G, F, E, D, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, E, D, C, B, A, G, F, E. So by doing what I did, I didn't do that the last time. Once I got to the high E string, I went down the high E string as the last sequence in the moving from low E string to high E string, up the lower string, down the upper string, up the lower string, down the upper string, up the lower string, down the upper string. Then I flip it around. I go up the upper string and down the lower string. Same thing for the third and fourth, fifth and sixth. And that way, by the time you're done, you will have gone up and down each one of those strings. Now, this area up here, because some of the folks like David Ernst have got a different scale instrument in terms of the number of frets. I have 22, he's got 21. So ideally, you probably just run that process, yes, all the way up and down each string, so you see it linearly without any stopping point. But also, we have a tendency to think about things a little bit different above the 12th fret because we do, right? So one of the other things would be to just get comfortable with E, F, G, A, B, C, D, D, C, B, A, G. Oh, I guess I should flip around. All right, so the great thing about all of this is on the E string, this is going to be, if you will, the minor seventh or the flat seventh. It's going to be a D. On the A string, that's going to be a G. On the D string, that's a C. On the B string, on the G string, that's an F. On the B string, that's an A, and that's going to be another D. So you actually, if you're paying attention, you actually know what those notes are. I'm not that great about those, but the idea is going E, F, G, A, B, C, D, G, F, E, D, C, B, A, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, F, E, D, C, B, A, G, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, D, C, B, A, G, F, E, E, F, G, F, G, A, B, C, D, A, G, F, E, D, C, B, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, C, B, A, G, F, E, D, A, C, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, D, C, B, A, G, F, E. And that way you're just kind of getting really comfortable with that region of the neck, in addition to going up like we did for the 12th fret and kind of circling around, doing that up and down each one of these strings. David, for you on the can't speak, on a 21 fret instrument, and David, anybody else that's out there, just go up to the highest natural note on that string and then you just jumped around. And that'll get you there. David, as I recall, you've got a Les Paul as well. So you might want to start there and just kind of get used to, like, hey, when we play a 21 fret instrument, of which I have a number around here, you just kind of go, okay, I just kind of have to accommodate. All right. I hope that helps. So the other bit with to answer your question about the single string part, the idea is being able to get, you need to go bye-bye. All right, so I'm going to jump in and do this. This is probably a YouTube video I'm going to make, but I'm going to go here anyway. So if we were to, and David, I'm going to get your amp in just a moment. We got basically, we can think about this in note names and numbers. So major is 1, 2, 3, and I know that you know this, Greg. So major is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. Dorian is 1, 2, flat 3, 4, 5, 6, flat 7, 1. Phrygian, flat 2, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 6, 7, 1. Lydian 2, 3, sharp 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. Euclid 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, flat 7, 1. Minor 2, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 6, flat 7, 1. Welcome flat 2, flat 3, 4, 5, 5, flat 6, flat 7, 1. And then translate that from major F sharp, G sharp, A, B, C sharp, D sharp, E, E, D sharp, C sharp, B, A, G sharp, F sharp, E. Dorian's got a flat 3 and a flat 7, so the G sharp becomes a G and the D sharp becomes a D. So you get Dorian, F sharp, G, A, B, C sharp, D, E, E, D, C sharp, B, A, G, F sharp, E, Phrygian, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, so on and so forth. So you basically take the scale degree numbers and express them as note names. So if major was E, F sharp, G, and Dorian is 1, 2, flat 3, so instead of being E, F sharp, sorry, major is E, F sharp, G sharp, somebody was like, if the major is E, F sharp, G sharp, that's 1, 2, 3. Dorian is 1, 2, flat 3, so it's going to be E, F sharp, G. So we basically, the same thing we do with 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, flat 3, we do with E, F sharp, G sharp, and E, F sharp, G. So we learn to mode spell and pitch axis using the scale degree numbers of the note names. They become interchangeable. However, as it really came to kind of mapping stuff out, now I have a tendency to play in a number of common keys. So on the high E string, that's going to be a forthcoming video, which is just walking up. The G minor pentatonic, which at this point I've pretty much etched in my brain. 1, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 7, 1, G, B, flat C, D, F, G. Once you begin to think of these as the note names, it's not really, I know the note names. You actually can just kind of look at the note and go, I flipping know where I am. Snap. And all of a sudden it allows you, all right, G, B, flat, C, D, F, G, and all of a sudden you're like, and I'm playing the shapes because I actually see the shapes because I know where those notes are. I'm like, wow. Just completely blew my mind when I kind of went. But it was really kind of at the what's the word for it? The neonatal stage when I saw it. I went, I know what I'm doing, but it's just the bare embryo of the idea. But I went, I recognize what this could do, and for me and for other players, because I was like, because we're all to a certain extent stuck in the patterns, even if we understand the formulas and all of that stuff. We're kind of playing the same shapes over and over. So like, well, what if I can kind of just unlock and get us, who let the dogs out, right? It's like, holy cow. I'm still clearly by my performance of the A minor pentatonic working some of this stuff out, but conceptually, I know what I know what the mission is, and I'm like, holy flippin' snap! All right, let me work a little way through. Sonia, good morning. Tom, if I didn't say hello, which I think I did, good morning. Greg, hopefully that answered your question, and there will be some YouTube videos I'm going to do on this. I need to figure out what I'm going to bring over to Instagram, what's going to be on YouTube in terms of the form factor, because some of the stuff is just too long for IG, but some of them can be whittled down. And yes, one-string modes, it is the magic, as Matt King will tell you. What's going on, my dear friend? Hello. Great to see you. Brett, I'm listening with headphones. The Sarah Delay trails are way cool. Thank you. Not with them off. So it's an interesting thing. I've been spending a bunch of time, as a bunch of you probably know, hanging out with the Helix Stadium. But one of the things that I was listening to, think it was Luke, maybe I'll Be Over You, but I was like, oh, quarter note, half note. Because, my favorite go-to is the dotted eighth and quarter. However, if you're playing with a lot of distortion, there's a lot of track going on behind you, the dotted eighth starts to get in the way with things. Now, I will also share my favorite gear hack of the week with you because I love you. So this is a... Are you set on quarter notes still? Yeah. This is, so subdivisionally, that is a quarter note delay on a little side loop running into a reverb that's set 100% wet. So I'm basically using a quarter note delay with a single repeat to create a quarter note offset pre-delay on the reverb. So the delay, this pre-delaying the reverb, let's turn that mix up here, negative 17.5. I'll just bring it way up. So if I hit a single note, ba, ba. Now, again, every so often, I miss a... all right, so now that I've made up my mind that I'm not in E minor, I'm in E Dorian, I'm aiming for my C sharps and my F sharp. Where that really helps is on a... Because I'm kind of walking, this is my D. That, by the way, is a really important note to know where it is. Why? Because... lots of stuff happens around the D. So basically... So kind of hanging out there, I can go, oh, there's my D. I guess that's a C sharp. There's my F sharp. So because I know where those notes are, as I walk that down, there's my C sharp. So it kind of allows me to, instead of be thinking about the pattern, and that little spot, that little transition for me, for whatever reason, and it's basically what I would normally think of as a 3 shape. That is, say, if I were to take the first 6 notes of Phrygian and think about that compared to the first 6 notes of major, that's a 1, flat 2, flat 3, 4, 5, and a flat 6. So that shape. As I walk down, that's a hard one in transition for me. And so by just kind of thinking, all right, there's my C sharp B A, D C sharp B, D C sharp B A G F sharp. It allows me to kind of map the notes a little bit better. That's a G. It's always good to kind of keep in mind that we know where those notes are. So if I know that's a G, I guess that's my F sharp, and that is my A. And just being able to keep those notes in mind helps me kind of navigate that, because it's a trouble spot for me. So, in any case, okay, let me get back into the chat here. Larry Mitchell, why am I skipping B? Okay, so this is the whole crazy thing. This is what makes note mapping with the minor pentatonic strange, is that we're so used to, all right, we got all 7 notes. But we start leaving them out with the minor pentatonic, And all of a sudden, we got to kind of learn how to jump over that B and that F sharp. And you're like, oh, holy cow. Now so you're having to track this in your brain. Where that gets a little strange is when you start thinking about the tracking these guys. As you're thinking about, there's my 1, 4, flat 3, 5, 4, flat 7, 5, 1, flat 7, flat 3, 1 and 4. That will mess with your brain until you just get used to kind of working it out. But once you kind of get that sequence going, notice I didn't play the F that time. My brain went, hey dummy, you want the E. Because after a while, your brain just kind of goes, hey, those are the notes. Oh, okay. There's G and A. Again, we talk. By the way, just for business and giggles, you want to know where this D is? And by the way, this E is where I started, kind of in this area, because it's a no man's land or no woman's land. That E. Gotta know where it is. Because it's the tonal center of so many of those keys. But I kind of was like, what is that note there? In my brain, I know it's a D, but I had to kind of go, no, in your brain and your conscious thoughts, you know that's a D. And once you know that's a D, I guess it's a lot easier to know that. That must be a C sharp. It's what I'm supposed to a C. And so the point being is just being able to kind of... Now I'm a D minor pentatonic. So that's going to be D, F, G, A, C, D. Right. And you just kind of get used to finding the notes there, right? It's like connecting the dots. All right. Larry, hello. I get to see you and hear you at Nuno's camp. I can't wait. Congratulations. First of all, that place that you were staying in the ocean, I didn't bother commenting if you're still here. Not a perfect rendition, but Larry, happy birthday. Larry just celebrated his birthday. Larry and I were both born in 1970. Not. In any case, Larry, happy birthday. I hope you had as amazing a birthday as it looked like you did. So that place that you were staying, you shot that video. I was like, what a view with a room with an awesome human being in it and out on that veranda. Holy cow. Always a pleasure, my dear friend. I can't wait to see you in January. All right. I could digress and spend hours talking, but we'll get a chance to do that in person, hopefully. All right, Russell, what's going on? There's a lot in the song that I'm learning right now. The main solo has a couple of long travel slides. Oh, I love it. Gollum. So I don't know that song. Long travel slides. I love that. Hang on, he's going to catch up here in a second. Let me just get to Brandon. I have a feeling that's delay and whammy tricks are not a replacement for speed and accuracy. Tune and intonate that guitar for God's sake. You're going to blast a heavy delay. Sounds like a Gibson SG 4-tracked. Wow, feel the love. My subtext runneth over. Holy cow. Well, the interesting thing about comments like that is I usually try and take the delivery. I'm going to speak some truth here. I'm just going to say it because this is my channel. Been having this interesting. I had a really interesting week over the past week. Somebody that was a former part of my team is no longer a part of my team. And without going into any specifics of it, one of the conversations I've been having with myself and having with Melissa was either actually going and being the grumpy old dude or making a decision not to be the grumpy old dude. No judgment on Brandon C., whether he's a grumpy old dude or not. Chances are he's over 50. But I made a conscious decision that I wasn't going to be a grumpy old dude. And I felt once I kind of got to about 55, I was like, I felt that onset of grumpy old dude coming on. And I went, you know what? I'm so not going to be grumpy old dude, because grumpy old dude, I realized it was going to put me in a grumpy old life that I didn't want. So I just want to give everybody a piece of advice. If you find that grumpy old dude wants to make his grumpy old way into your world, to quote, I don't think I've ever quoted Nancy Reagan on the show before, but I will today. Just say no. It's an interesting thing. I came up in the 80s, and I remember just seeing a bunch of people with a range of different types of attitudes. The ones that had a attitude are no longer in the business, and the ones that were cool, and the ones that I were cool with. I played in kind of competing local club bands. Nothing as successful as most of the big ones like Paul's band. It's a much bigger band. But because I was always nice to people, people were always nice to me. And I got to tell you, that dividend has paid off decade after decade after decade. This is like I have had a career that has been smaller than I might have wanted, but I've still had a career that I've loved. And not being grumpy old dude is one of the ways that, of all the things that I would like to do in the time that I have left on this planet, not being grumpy old dude is one of the most important pieces towards my getting there. So anybody that, if you feel grumpy old dude knocking on your door, don't let him in. He's not your friend. All right. Russell, let me get back to this. A bit of, you can take quite a bit of delay. I think I can negate a need for a whammy pedal by turning my guitar in sevenths or nines. I love that. I should be able to keep the dots because I have an octave on the same string. So that's an octave. All right. So, all right. Didn't Paul Gilbert once tune his guitar in octave just so he could be able to play some ARP super fast? So, the thing about Paul, first of all, I met Paul. He was still 16. He might have been 15. So I was leaving GIT, and he was coming. There's actually a video. It's kind of a thing. My buddy John Mello put it together. Hang on. I need to take a quick left turn before I go any further, and I need to answer David Ernst's questions, and then I'm going to jump back in. And Russell, I'm seeing you, and I want to make sure that if you had a question, I'm going to answer that. And Sonia, good morning to you. Great to see you as always. David asked, he's got a $500-ish amp need. And so this is kind of to the room. There are a number of great amps in the sub $500 range. However, that gets sliced and diced. They're not all in the room, but I'm going to speak to the ones that I'm particularly fond of. Now, the great thing when David asked the question, it made me kind of go, well, what are the determining factors? Does it have to be tube? Can it be modeling? One channel, two channel, built-in effects, effects loops. How much stuff do you want in it versus how much stuff are you going to cloak it with, right? So there are a couple of great options that span the range of things. Trying to remember, it's my buddy out here in Contra Costa County, whose name I'm temporarily zoning out on. He's got one of the Fender Mustangs. He's got a Mustang 100. Now, when we traditionally think of a Mustang, we think of it as an entry-level amp. I happened to review one, and I was like, this thing's so great, I want to buy it. So, like just super, super cool. That said, let's go someplace a little bit further up in the Fender food changes for business and giggles. I'm a big fan of the Tone Master amplifiers. They are not tube amplifiers. However, David, I would encourage you to go to a local music store and plug into a Tone Master Deluxe Reverb or a Tone Master Super Reverb. You're not going to see the Tone Master Super Reverbs as much. I think they're still in production. I'm not positive. The Tone Master Deluxe Reverb pretty much does everything that you want a Deluxe Reverb to do, except for the fact that it's got a direct out that, depending on which one, there are two different variations. One, I think, has a built-in Jensen as the stock speaker. The other has a Celestine Creamback. And then both of them kind of come with an IR, one of which is a 57. They come with two IRs. One is a 57, the other is a 421. And the other amp has a 57 and a 121, I think was the combination. And together, I was able to put a 57 and a 121 together with the two amps. I've still got both those amps because they sound great. This is what I'm going to do an amps, racks, and rigs video on that because it matters. That said, I had a regular old Deluxe Reverb, but that's above the $500 range. So if you're looking for something in the $500 range, I would actually say the only thing about the Tone Master is it does not have an effects loop. But in terms of Fender world, it's great. Now, just kind of zooming out a little bit of all the great amp choices there, you can't go wrong with the Katana amps because they got a ton of great sounds and features. I'm a huge fan of the Catalyst amps. That thing has a really nice kind of Marshall-y sound. The effects sound really cool. As you all would know, I'm a big fan of Line 6's delays. So the idea is that you get a lot of stuff there. And interesting, speaking of Larry Mitchell, I actually, it was kind of a funny thing. And again, I'm gonna kind of run through all my kind of mental options, David, as we kind of walk through this. So Larry invited me to sit in with him at the Dallas International Guitar Festival, which was a really, really, really big deal to me. Larry has been so generous with me. And so I borrowed a Catalyst because I knew what I was going to hear out of the front of that amp was what was going to go out of the XLR out into the PA. Now, why this matters is if there's any recording in your future, that XLR out really was, and that's separate. I'm 90% positive you can use it as a USB audio interface as well, which means you're using the USB. But the XLR out is great whether you want to go into your DAW, whether you want to go into a PA. And for me, one of the most important things, I want to be able to trust that what's coming out of the front of the amplifier is going to sound 85 to 95% the same as what's coming out of both with the XLR and the speaker. So I can go, the way I'm dialing this in front of house, on the front of the stage, it's going to be synonymous with what's coming out front of house. And at a place like the Dallas International Guitar Festival, it matters. And Derek St. James? No. What was his name? Derek St. John. Derek St. But it was the guy that played with Ted Nugent, who when I was that afterwards came up and said, "Man, you played really well. I really liked that tone." I was like, it was so cool, But the point being is that if playing live and or capturing what you're wanting to do in the DAW, again, the Tone Master Pro amps are really, really good for that. That said, again, I in the non-tube world, although the Tone Master, because the Deluxe Reverb, the amp for you. Sorry, I made this mental note and I'm now coming back to it. Hot Rod Deluxe 4 is the amp you want, and it hits all the things you're looking for. It's tube. It has a clean channel and a mode that basically adds distortion on top of it. That's foot switchable. It has built-in reverb. I don't remember if it has built-in vibrato, which was also on your list. And it has an effects loop. And with a box like this, if you got a fancy MIDI rig, this is going to make its way into one of the Amps, Racks, and Rigs videos. you can basically remote control the foot switch functionality with a MIDI controller. This is the Sir Micro MIDI control. So basically it allows you to take foot switching functionality and control it via MIDI. That's a really groovy little pedal. And you will see that in a video coming up sooner than later. But that's a really, 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 really big deal. That is the amp you want, and you want to find it on Craigslist. Now, here's the deal, my dear friend. Wherever you go to buy that amp, you must have them turn it on before you get there so it's nice and warm, because tube amps, if they're getting a hiss and piss, they kind of wait until they've been on for a minute, more or less. And so this is the thing that's the unfortunate thing about that amp, and I doubt they've changed it. Where the input jack is connected to the motherboard. So I went to buy a Hot Rod Deluxe from a clown that wanted to clown me, and he figured, oh, this is going to be great. I'm going to get over on this guy. I'm going to meet him in a parking lot in San Ramon. I cruise out to the parking lot in my minivan, and I've got my little power box that plugs into the cigarette lighter on my minivan. I'm like, all right, let's fire up the amp. And he played it really cool. I wouldn't want to play cards with this guy, nor would I want to buy a piece of gear from him. And I plug it in, and I'm like, I know what this is. It used to happen to on some of the Marshalls, where the input jack is connected to the motherboard, and if you happen to, the other thing is whenever, I'm going to give a tech tip on every one of these shows, and this reminds me of the moment of the tech tip I was going to give, but we're going to go for 2 today. Watch your nuts. So the deal is, I've got a guitar that the nut on the input jack, I go to plug in the guitar and the jack and goes bloop, and I'm like, oh, I know what that is. I encourage you from the bottom of my heart to watch your nuts. And kind of what triggered this was I moved an amp the other day, and I was kind of just making sure everything, because every so often I'll keep the speaker jacks connected when I kind of wheel something offset. And so what happened was I was like, oh, that's a little tiny bit loose, and then as I kind of pulled the cable out, the little washer came out. I very carefully put it back, or the nut. And I'd seen a cabinet was listed on Craigslist where it's like, oh, everything's great except for, there's a washer or a nut missing. I was like, okay, note to self, note to you. Go ahead and check all the various places that you might have a nut, and just make sure they're tight, because it's a real drag when it comes off and you lose it. If it falls out on the way to the gig and you're not paying attention, you put it on stage and it's some dark, dingy stage, you're going to have not a great show. Do that for your speaker jacks, on your amplifiers, on the jacks on your cabinets, and on your instruments. And chances are one of them is probably loosened up. So just kind of give it a little tightening. Thank me later. It's a thing. And I'm gonna do a little. I'm gonna go around probably with a gentle pair of needle nose pliers. You could potentially, if you're worried about kind of marring stuff, you could kind of take a paper towel and kind of put it in between the if you will, the teeth of said needle nose plier, and just kind of wrap it around as you're kind of doing that. If you can kind of get a small enough piece to go in between the teeth, that way you don't kind of whatever it is, that nut that you're trying to tighten. But that'll be a help. All right. So the deal is that the other thing is always put your cable behind the strap. So that's tip number 2. And invariably what probably happened is he probably had his guitar and went like that and just kind of dragged the guitar across the room. And whether he had the strap connected, with the cable under it or not, the input jack got tension. And I always will run my cable through the handle on the top of the amplifier. The danger of that is if you give it enough of a yank, it will come down, which is why I usually go through one of the handles on the sides of the cabinets. Which I may or may not have done there. But the point being is that, that will save you a lot of heartache. All right, so in any case, so I plug into this thing, and the input jack is totally lame. So you want to go in and make sure, give it a very gentle wiggle, make sure it's okay. but that's the one liability. So if you end up picking one of those up, and those are really good. The Hot Rod Deluxe 4 is the one you want. The earlier 3 revisions are not as good. There's a really weird thing in the upper mids that I don't like. I apologize to anybody who's got one of those other ones that I couldn't get to in the EQ. It's in between it's in a place in the controls that you couldn't dial it out. And there's a guy named Stan Cody who's the senior vice president of product R&D at Fender. He's somebody that I just have had the privilege of knowing. And he's the guy that did the redesign on that amp. He worked with Joe Bonamassa on the Bonamassa amp. He's a for real guy, and he did that amp right. That's the amp you want. It's a great amp. Buy it used. Don't tell Fender I said that. Buy it on Craigslist, and there you have it. That's a YouTube video that needs to be made right there, so thank you for the inspiration. All right, I get a stage stretch that I usually shake a bit when put on the spot. I wouldn't know anything about that, but it's not a good idea. Paul Gilbert is... so I'm not gonna agree with that. I actually, so I love Paul, and so the interesting thing is, hold on, I have a Les Paul scale, 7 strings, and I want them to go even further. There we go. Come on. Add 3 octaves in the compact package. There we go. All right. So here's the deal. Paul, first of all, is a brilliant blues player. And when it comes to shredding, just unfathomable for me what he's able to do. And I just remember being at a NAMM show in the late 80s at the Rocktron booth. Brad Gillis is somebody I've known for a long time. Lovely guy. Obscenely great player. Exceptionally nice guy. And we're sitting there and I at that point in the 80s, I was full on shred. I kind of played, and Brad and I kind of hung out for a second and talked. Then Paul sat down and just destroyed this amp, and Brad and I just kind of looked at each other, just shook our heads, just kind of like he's a force of nature. It's like a hurricane, a cyclone, and an earthquake, all happening at once. And his technical command is as high as his knowledge of the instrument. He's an exceedingly studied instrument. If he's not your thing, music, fortunately, is it's a Burger King. You can have it your way, and it's totally cool. And I love Paul, and I love his reckless abandon. But that's not everybody singing. I feel you. With great pleasure, and again, one of the things that we do value here is diversity in opinion. And the thing is that is what makes a community a community. I'm so privileged to be part of this community. So thank you for that. Albert, what stadium patch am I using? Look at you. You're hitting me with... I can't tell you. And I'm going to have to leave it there. Oh, thank you. This pickup arrangement really works. Oh, I brought my level up to that negative 17 is where that was. All right, gosh darn it. Let me get back to the center of this. All right, Romero, hello, my dear friend. Always a pleasure. You handsome devil, you. Mason's Deli, come on. Wait. So do you know Mason? Are you Bay Area? Let me in on the down low here. Wes, what's going on? Digital Vipers Club approves the stream. I approve your approving of the stream. And I approve Digital Viper. As weird as that sounds. All right. Hello, my friend. All right. Yes, please practice transcribing it. And, the idea of... So, let me let everybody in. Oh, wait, hang on. Let me get caught up on all of this stuff here, so I'm not missing anything down at the bottom because there's enough commenting here. So Greg, yes, yes, and yes. We're going to come back to this. David, yep, all good. Roll on 8. Okay, Brian, good morning, my friend. Hello. Greg, have a good one. Chris Lewis, my dear friend, happy. What are we gonna do? We're gonna gotta do something for my buddy Chris. Hey guys, Critter, how you been, my friend? We back to song. So I had a buddy named Critter. He's from Sacramento. Dixon, to be specific. He loved the Mesa Boogie Maverick, as I recall. No. The Rocky King. Great to see you, Critter. Always a pleasure. I love you. You know that. All right. Brooks Lundry. Hello, my dear friend. Hello. Riley, what's going on, my man? Good morning. Got a new hat and cap on the way. Way to go, my man. Young man Sackett. Awesome. Yep, Nuno 6-string Sanctuary. We shall rock. I love you like a brother, but you knew that. Dick Van Dyke's 100th birthday. Holy cow. There we go. Another happy birthday there. You know, I'm gonna talk about this for a quick second. I deleted my knee-jerk reaction to PG because I realized it's something he said to me personally, so it still shows up on your end. Sorry for chat, punish you. So you know, every so often, you know, it's an interesting thing. I remember I was doing something at GIT years back, and I saw somebody having a grumpy moment with their wife. And you can see just a little sliver in somebody's life that's either the bigger sliver of how it really is, or just a little moment that you catch them at that. And I realized that that's not only something that you see externally, but you flip that around, that's what people see as well. And sometimes we see somebody on their bad day, and sometimes they are having a bad day and they react, and you don't necessarily know whether that's the continuum or whether it's that. But it's one of the things that we have to deal with. And I'm going to share a story here. I'm going to go personal. because these things, I don't want to know the details, and but I will say this is that there was a guy that I was working with that I fired, not recently, but one of the things he said to me, which was really kind of one of the most, it's one of the things that those things, if you're not really careful, will take root. And as my wife wisely counseled me, above all things, guard your heart. You got to watch out what you let in and the walls you build up. Both of those things. In any case, basically, I was playing something. They said, you play a lot of styles, but there's a lot of guys who play better than you do. And it was just one of those things where, I would never have kind of had that conversation with myself where I would have said that to myself. But I thought, man, it was a karate chop. Like, probably, I don't think anybody's ever said anything meaner that was kind of in my circle of people. And it was just an interesting thing. So you got to really, be mindful of kind of like, it's a strange balance between building up enough of an exterior where stuff like that bounces off the Teflon, but yet you're still somehow vulnerable in the midst of it. I don't pretend to have the answer for that, but because of your comment, Russell, I thought I can not speak to it, or we can actually have a for real conversation. So there you have it, and I appreciate your sharing your heart. I do. All of it. Drew Bentley. I agreed there is a fork in the road. Choose the right path. Non-grumpy, positive professional, and a life of service. There we go. Oh, I'm doing great. Thank you very much. Likewise, I'm sure. Thank you. I received that. Well, hold on. Let's see if I can do it right this time. Russell, that's awesome. Congratulations. You're not as old as I am. Danny, what's going on, my man? Doug the Stoic. Larry, awesome. Okay, Russell. Okay, good. Awesome. Appreciate that, my friend. Bent Tom, hello, my friend. How are things going on the family front, my friend? Give me a little up, down, in between, more of the same, whatever. Let me know, man. Great to see you. Love you, bro. Great to have you in the room. Speaking of feel the love, there we go. Come on. All right. Awesome. David, awesome. Ed May, holy cow. Aw. That's a middle pickup, sort of. No, let's go for the neck pickup. No longer delay. Ed, I've known since he was in probably just the beginning of high school. This is just kind of one of those stories. And I love that people are showing up here. I'm not doing a very good job of getting through the chat here, but it's that time of year. I was in Guitar Center, San Francisco. Standing at a counter playing through an amp, and Ed kind of meandered up. We struck up a conversation, and I was like, yeah, do you teach guitar? Yeah, I teach guitar. So Ed studied with me for a while, but he's a dear, dear friend, just a lovely guy, brilliant artist, great guitar player. And it's great. One of my favorite things about music is all these people from all over the world, they become part of your world. So in any case, the great thing about, when you live in a community, Ed lived in the town that's kind of right next door to mine, but I would see his drummer, Bren, at the supermarket. One night I was buying a giant oversized bag of Ling Ling pot stickers. That was kind of this, Ling Ling joke that happened. In any case, always a pleasure, Ed. All right, there we go. All right. Hey, Larry, every time I see you on your channel in a chat, reminds me of my good friend of yours, David Nesdal. I don't know him. Hope you're doing great, Larry. Much love. There we go. All right. Oh, no, Larry, I was in the hospital at the same time as Dave with similar kidney health issues. He would call me twice a day, even though he was sick as well. What a gem of a human being. All right. Okay. Good. That doesn't sound. Yeah. I'm sorry to hear that, guys. So, yeah, I'm gonna pause on the thought that I was gonna go with. Griffin, sale on the Boss Katana 50s. The Katana amps are flipping great. I don't know why I'm playing as I'm talking about Katana amps, but they sound great. So Derek St. Thank you. Derek St. Ohms. Did I get it? Derek St. Ohms. So like he comes up to me and I'm like, so I'm playing through the flipping Catalyst and he was like, that tone was really cool. I'm like, line 6. And the whole fun of the joke was when just anybody that just came in. First of all, I'm Doug, by the way. Nice to meet you. Hit me with your questions. I'm doing a terrible job of getting to the bottom of the chat here, and I've got a lesson that starts in 17 minutes, but I'm going to do my best. So, but Larry invited me to sit in with him at the Dallas International Guitar Festival, and I purposely brought a Catalyst to play with because it can be a little cork sniffery at some of these guitar. It's called the Dallas International Guitar Festival, but it's also a guitar show where people bring all these vintage instruments, and most of the people are really, really cool, but some of the vintage folks can be a little cork sniffery. So I kind of purposely just like, I'm going to purposely bring this modeling amp, and it just served me so well. So, I just had so much fun. But, I'm pretty sure Derek was playing with Ted on the Cal Jam 2. There was a video of that my dad, when I was about this tall, it's my dad's birthday, coming up on the 29th. So, it's I think all of us, it's a little, the holidays can be a little weird. Dad's birthday kind of like right all in the middle of that, always just kind of, it's like, impaled. But, he recorded Cal Jam 2 for me, and I didn't know what Cal Jam 2 was. I was, like 6th grade, 7th grade, but I had this cassette, and it was Ted Nugent, it was Hart, and it was Aerosmith. It was awesome, and I'm pretty sure Derek played on it. I think I mentioned that to Derek, and he was just lovely, and I was like, it was special to me. Oh, awesome. Oh, excellent. So, it's an interesting thing. First of all, I love it that people feel comfortable that they can share their heart here. It's an important thing. And it also, it's just like part of the, the whole thing about the music business, I make this reference to the grumpy old guy. It was a strange thing. Like at a certain point, my buddy said to me, he's like, when you turn, I think it had to have been like was probably said when you turn 40, your eyes start to go. And like literally, I turned 40 and my eyes started needing these guys to be able to read stuff. So my arms weren't growing as my eyes were diminishing. But, there are certain things that happen in onsets of life. And that grumpy old dude, you got to watch out. He will grab a hold of you. And hey, dude, that's how we all roll. And what I love about this community is we're chill and the people are flippin' lovely. Yep. Awesome. Sorry, I'm reading it and not reading out loud. Okay. So I'm gonna kind of jump ahead here, and I'm gonna just want to make sure I get to the rest of these. So I apologize if I missed something important. Look at the hot rod. That seems to fill the need. Thank you. With great pleasure, David. We've known each other so long. Again, the Hot Rod Deluxe 4. Don't buy the 3. Don't buy the 2. Don't buy the 1. And you will be rocking. Paul is actually an amazing blues player. He's a huge Robin Trower fan. Paul can play the snot out of the blues. And he's a great slide player. And he's exceptionally funny. And yeah, so yes, and yes. I saw Paul Gilbert at the clinic once. He started playing Bach cello suites with 4-note harmony. He is on a different level. And he's a fun guy. He's a wild and crazy guy. Portland, awesome. Maybe I am hoping sooner than later I'll make my way back up to the Roseland Theater. And I look forward to bringing a bro hug to this conversation. All right. Okay. I'm not doing a very good job of reading ahead. My apologies. I love a good V2. Okay, awesome. Brett Mason, that is, yes. It wasn't that. Okay, hang on. All right, we got to move it. I think I've been A all the. Oh, let me make it so it's not quite so cheesy. Sucked. Hold on, let me try it anyway. I need to learn that song properly. Happy birthday, my friend. 49. You are but a young buck. Many turns around the sun for you, my friend, or whatever the heck it is that we're doing. All right. Oh, awesome. Who's the current bass player? James Messy Band. Raphael, what's going on, my man? Hello, my friend. Great to see you. All right. Okie doke. 11:32 at home. Rivers are rising and I've heard that's going on up there. Hope you're okay. 1:32 here. It is 10:40. Oh, holy cow, am I behind on this? All right, let me just jump to the very end here and work backwards. Otherwise, I'm not going to get everybody. Hold on a second. Tom, with great pleasure. My Black Analog Chorus Vibrato Deluxe, enjoying it. It's excellent. Mr. Black, great guy. I've known that guy since he was in high school. Holy cow. But we know this. Oh, holy cow. My grandmother turns 102 on December 29th. I'm not going to... 102 years ago. The world was a different place. Your grandmother put a smile on her parents' face. So on behalf of the Doppler clan, please wish your grandma a happy birthday on December 29th. Happy returns of the day. That's pretty awesome. Pretty darn awesome. I love that you guys kind of hang out and all chat. Michael, what's going on? Oh, thank you very much for those of us who remember turntables. Hey, Eric, so here's the deal. I keep mentioning that I'm going to call you, but I have something I want to send you. Now, I tried them on, so I will tell you this, but somebody sent me these wrist grips, and they're for people that are having discomfort when they're playing. And so this thing kind of puts on like this, and then you kind of wrap it around your wrist like that, and so on and so forth. I found that for me, I am slightly hyperactive when I play, and kind of I'm doing enough crazy position things that allow me to kind of jump around the neck, that I do things, and I felt a little tensioning from that. I don't think most people are doing. Kind of part of what is my shtick is these rather quick position changes in the midst of kind of doing quick position changes, and I felt it grabbed me in a way that I think most people would not have an issue. I want to send these to you. So I need you to do me a favor, Eric, because I know you got my email and my phone number. I want you to send me your address. I want to send these to you. I think for most people, these will be great. The idea is that they're supposed to help against tendonitis and all that. And I've seen a bunch of videos where people are wearing them. I just found for me it was not going to be quite the right thing. But I think it's because I'm kind of guitar hyperactive. And again, these weird, really quick transitions, it just wasn't going to be the right thing for me, but I want you to try them out. So that's what I've been messaging you incognito about. Joining super late. I always love the typos. Like, what do they really mean? Jeff Fogarty. Hold on a second. My dear friend. All right, look, I got a lesson that's going to start in a hot second. I'm just trying to make sure I didn't miss anybody. I do that from time to time. Anthony, thank you so much, man. I really appreciate it. No negativity here. Grumpers, be gone. That was weird. Way to counter it. Thanks. Positivity is the thing. If we don't do that, then we miss it. I love you, Anton Shred, one of my favorite people, but you know that. I'm old enough now to yell at kids, "Get off my lawn!" Another great Paul Gilbert title. So, all right. Also got a band together. The first song we're going to try and play are Crossroads. why that's Stone in Love, but the point being is like, at least we got the right band. Awesome. Congratulations, my friend. Okay. Francesco, hey! I think I got a little neck pickup for you. My friend, or good evening. Buenos Sarah. How do you say it? You make me want to play fast, bro. And it feels so good. Awesome. Welcome, my friend. Great to see you. All right. There we go. Griffin. Yep. Oh, by the way, tickets are on sale for Satch Vibe Band. Pete Thorne, Marco Mendoza, and Kenny Aronoff. That is the band to see. Animals as leaders. Open that show. A little out of tune. All right, that was more like it. All right. Gosh darn it. Hey, you know, I've got to prep for my lesson. I really want to thank everybody that tuned in, hung out, chatted, shared your, kind of let the guard down a little bit. I like that. I want to wish everybody an amazing week. I look forward to seeing you next Saturday. I really appreciate you taking your time out of your busy life to hang out with me. This is one of the most satisfying things. I like to get up early on Saturday so I can be slightly prepared. And this is something that I spend maybe more time doing some of the other things with video these days. But this is the thing that is the most consistent thing that I do musically in my world that's externally facing. And so I am so grateful to have the privilege of being able to do this and a community of people that I get a chance to do it with. So I just want to say thank you. I frequently say thank you, but I think thank you is one of those things that you could never really say too much when it comes from here. So thank you. Have a great week. I look forward to seeing you next Saturday. Appreciate you. Bye for now. And don't be the grumpy dude.